games.
The end is coming! Who am I?
Let me change your mind.
Welcome to tonight's Pro Series draft, the first kind of its conception, I guess you could say. Today we are welcomed with the top 2 records in Pro Series. Brushy, how you doing, Brushy?
What up, what up, what up? Brushy in the house.
And Fuel. They kind of had some sort of like a rivalry, right, Fuel?
Oh yeah, I had the distinction of being Brushy's only loss during the regular season, and then went ahead and lost to him in the playoffs. So, yeah, it'll be good to get that rubber match going in the All-Star game.
And as you could tell, a lot of sound in the back of Fuel. He is driving, as does all Fuel do. So that was a really bad joke. Let's go on to what we're going to be doing tonight. So tonight, what we're going to do is we are going to have a little draft. We're going to have each player pick one person at a time, and Brushy's going to start us off. He was the number 1 overall player as well as our MVP, so he gets the luxury of starting us off. But before we do that, let's have a little discussion with Brushy and Fuel. So Brushy, how did you feel about your Pro Series this season? Your matches?
Felt great every week. Early on in the week or in the season, I learned that fish can't swim in fuel, so we adapted and we overcame. Now we can breathe inside fuel, and we coming for fuel round 3. We about to be 2-1 fish over that fuel.
How about you, Fuel? How did you feel your season? I mean, you guys won the whole thing, right? So I feel pretty good about that.
Yeah, we did. That was definitely an upside to the season. Otherwise, yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I got to give a lot of credit to my team for my record. They did a lot of the prep for me when I was running around too busy to actually do my own prep, and they really came through on that and was able to get some wins. So yeah, I had a lot of fun.
And is it true that that you prepped so little and you still went 6-1?
Yeah, I had a warm-up match for one of my regular season games. No, that's not true. That was in the playoffs. Yeah, I didn't practice at all for any of my regular season games.
So just pretty much got the decks and then played.
Yeah.
Wow,
I mean, I played a lot of comfort decks, so it's not like I was going in totally blind. But yeah, no, this season was super crazy for me. Actually, the reason I'm in the car is been in the process of selling a house and moving out. Last 2 years, I've been living with my dad, who had got divorced, and then 2 weeks later had a debilitating groin injury, and couldn't even do his own grocery shopping. But now that he's finally getting back on his feet, both in a literal and metaphorical sense, selling the house and moving him into a smaller place. And tonight's the last crunch night. I guess tomorrow is, but the actual closing. So yeah, things were really nuts.
Wow, and still did really good in the match there. We lost Fuel for a second there. That's okay. So Brushy, one thing that I wanted to bring up with you, and I've been kind of joking around with you, as your captain, was it like your 200 PR in Legacy, but somehow wrecking in Pro Series. Are you willing, since Shield is disappearing from our Pro Series next season, are you willing to share your strategy on why you were 6-1 throughout the season and how you lost to Fuel that one match?
Sure. So my strategy every week, except for the week against Fuel, I brought the same 4 decks and maybe 3 cards out of the whole 120 changed from week to week. For sure brought Priest and Shaman every week and shielded one of those. And then the other 2 decks were Holy Wrath Pally and Quest Druid. And my idea every week was just if you brought decks or a lineup that beat Priest and Shaman, then my Paladin Druid was probably going to beat you. And if you brought decks to counteract the Pally Druid, then my Shaman and Priest were going to beat you. And it worked every week except for the 1 week where I brought Mage against Fuel. Even though the Mage won against Fuel, he still reverse swept me then. And, it was a bad week. But outside of that, I think that strategy in Shielded Conquest is really good. And also not playing your shield also just throws people for a loop. And you just get free wins sometimes.
Yeah, that's kind of a great strategy there. Shield a deck, and then they think, oh, they're going. Most people shield their deck because they think it's a strong deck and they want to play it and they think it's going to sweep. And so a lot of people think that, hey, you're going to shield this deck, and then you end up playing a completely different deck that counters a deck that they're shielding. So it's kind of like cerebral there, kind of like a reverse psychology, just by your selection. So good job on that, like on recognizing that.
Thanks. I don't think I played my shielded class until actually against Fuel. So what, 4 or 5 weeks into the season was the first time I played my shielded class. And that's only because I had to, because we went to a game 3.
That's awesome, man. So why don't we go on to the draft? You guys ready for the draft?
Oh,
Enough banter.
excited.
Let's do it.
All right. So what we're gonna do is we have the team Ruck Fawn Mexico for Brushy, and few All-Stars for Fuel.
What a lame name.
And we have the teams Daravis, or the players Daravis, Icer, Donde, Myanodon, Kongmar, who is substituting for Top Hat, Skittles, Ron Mexico, and Solo Jazz. So the last person that we have up here is CMAC, and he will alternate in if one of these players does not show up for the match or can't make it. I still have a couple people who have not responded to the email, so there's a good chance that CMAC will play. So CMAC, you will fill in anybody that is not that doesn't show up, or let's say Daravis doesn't respond, or Kungmar doesn't respond. You get to fill in those spots. And if more than those people don't respond, we're just going to stick with whatever's there, because it's just going to be a 1v1. So let's get started. Let's start off with Brushy. Brushy, do you have any strategies on your draft?
Yeah. Don't pick Ron Mexico. Easy win. He's this 550 PR guy and hero and legacy, and he got outdone by this 250 PR guy. Obviously, not that good.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but he is your teammate on Pro, right?
Yes. And
Okay.
he was my teammate on Hero for 1 season as well. I love Ron, but in Pro, Ron no good. I don't want him here.
All right, Phil, do you have any strategies?
Yeah, I'm just gonna straight up pick whoever I think is the absolute best player, and we're going no holds barred for the win.
So it sounds like Brushy is just kind of going for memes here, and Fuel is going for actual wins. So how do you feel about that, Brushy?
Of course, I never meme.
And no prep too, right?
We're gonna prep. We're gonna prep hard.
Listen,
All right.
that is my strat. You'll lose with Ron on your team. So therefore, by not drafting Ron, there's no way we lose to the Fuel All-Stars. Also, their name is garbage, so we just won already. Easy matchup, easy All-Star win for us.
All right. Let's get started. Why don't we start a draft? Let's start with Brushy. Brushy, with the first draft pick, your selection is?
I'm gonna go with Kungmar.
Kungmar, first one off the table, replacing Top Hat. Kungmar goes to Brushy with the first draft pick. That's kind of a surprise there, picking a substitute. Any thoughts there? Just random, or you
Nope.
got a strategy? Is this just fitting in your don't pick Ron Mexico strategy?
Kungmar beat Ron Mexico. Easy.
Ah, okay. All
It's Ron
right.
the only Ron.
All right.
Also,
Let's.
Kungmar just overall super good player. He came in late in the season, 4-1 on top of that. So he's just overall like a super solid player. Glad to have him on the team.
All right. So on the fuel. You got the winning strategy. What is your pick?
Right. Uh, Actually, I don't. So I'm basing this on player strength, but I don't actually know most of these players. So we're gonna take someone I know pretty well. Played a few games together. Donde.
Donde. Donde off the board. So with the second pick in the draft, Donde is off the board going to Fuel. So Fuel's strategy of just sort of picking players he knows are strong, and Donde definitely a strong player. Definitely was one of the players that was in the word for MVP in some of the seasons, and even possibly the overall winner of forgot the name of the award, but the winner of all 3 seasons. So Donde, really good pick there. So back to you with the third draft pick, Brushy.
I just want to say something real quick about this Donde pick. That's funny that Fuel picked him up first round. It's because in the recap for Pro, Donde thought he gave me my only loss,
That
while
is
it was
true.
Fuel who actually did. So it's
Yeah.
it's super
Actually, I was
funny
watching that,
Donde
and I was watching that, and I totally believed it because I was still thinking about my loss to you in the playoffs.
yeah.
That is
Fuel
So
true.
said,
yeah,
"What?
actually that's why I picked up.
So yeah, there you go. Donde called out. For those of you that don't know, Donde called out Brushy and said that he was his only loss in Pro Series when in fact Brushy beat Donde. So Donde says that it is from loss of memory. Brushy says that it is not. It is just him trying to get one up on Brushy. So good pick
Yeah,
there for
Mind,
we're
Fuel.
going for the
Fuel.
revenge.
Yeah.
mind
So
you,
that is
I
the
2-0'd Donde.
that is a very good pick there for revenge on Brushy and actually get a win from Brushy on Donde's part. So all right, so back to the draft there, Brushy. Third pick in the draft.
I'm gonna go with my teammate Solo Jazz.
Good pick there. Solo Jazz, kind of a not really very vocal in the THL, but a very solid player. I picked him up on my pro series. I knew he was on a he subbed in for a team last season when we had that few teams that fell out, and he played on a team that wasn't going to make playoffs, but he played strong, and so he played strong in pro series. I mean, he's the third 3 seed, and still made it to the All Stars. And in pro series, it's basically the higher seeds are up in these drafts here because they're the ones that have the best records. So Solo Jazz, the only 3 seed here in this draft.
Yeah,
So
honestly, without Ron or I on the team, like Solo Jazz is a 1 seed on any other pro team. So
but I will mention though that Solo Jazz is Ron Mexico's teammate, so doesn't really fit into your don't pick Ron Mexico strategy there.
it sure does. If Ron likes him and he's on Ron's team, I'm taking him away from Ron just to make him suffer some more.
All right, any you have any comments on Solo Jazz pick there? Just think of a strong player.
You
Yeah,
talking
I
to me?
actually
Yeah, Brushy.
I was gonna pick Solo Jazz next, but
Ooh.
Ooh, snipe. A straight up snipe.
4 damage to Fuel.
All right, so let's move on to the next. For those of you that don't know that joined us a little bit late, Fuel is in the car as all Fuel should be. So he's drafting from inside his vehicle. He's got a lot of stuff going on, so we thank him for finding a little bit of time he does have to get this draft. So let's move on to the next one. we got the fourth pick in the draft, Fuel.
Yeah. So I have a question for Brushy.
Sure.
Were there any other players on this list that you played during the regular season?
Say again?
Did you play anybody else that we can draft during the regular season?
No, I don't think I played anyone else on this board. Well, I might have played Skittles. I can't remember.
Yeah. All right. I'll take Skittles.
So the strategy coming in here, Ron Mexico picking Skittles. The strategy of just picking players that played Brushy. Wow. Solid strategy here. Brushy, what do you think about that? How do you feel about that?
Listen, obviously, I only have one loss is to Fuel. So if he keeps picking people I played, I ain't scared.
All right. Fuel, any thoughts on the Skittles pick there? Strong player.
Yeah, that's about all I know about him. That he does good things in game, so that's all you need to know.
All right. So now off to the pick number 5, the 5th pick in the draft. Brushy, with the 5th pick in the draft, you choose.
Ooh, this is a tough one. I got two names that I want to pick.
And one of them is not Ron Mexico, I'm gonna guess.
That's right. Get that man out of here. Yeah, see, even Clarity saying Ruck Von Mexico. Shout out to Clarity in chat. You know what? This player gave me a loss earlier in the season on a bet that we had. So I gotta take him since that's also one of my L's this season. I'm gonna take my Onodon.
Very solid pick.
We can be Fly Eagle Fly brothers over on the Ruck Von Mexico team.
Wow. So that a very strong pick there, Myanodon, the Tavern Talk host, as well as a very good player. One of the I will point out that he is one of the few players to actually beat Dervis, which he did beat in the quarterfinals of the Legacy playoff matches. So very solid pick in Myanodon. You have any thoughts on that, Brushy?
Yeah, I mean, my Onodon's is solid across every format he plays. Like, there's not a format where my Onodon's getting stomped or people are just beating him outright. He's always having a huge winning record, or he's just like one of the best solid players I think you can think of in THL, right?
And Fio, how do you feel about that? Are you going to tell me that he was your next pick?
Sure. Yeah, we'll go with that.
All right.
I like it.
All right. So with the 6th pick in the draft, Fuel, your pick is?
Could you actually left real quick at the list?
Yeah. You have Dervis, Icer, and Ron Mexico. Those are the 3 that are left. And CMAC will be replacing any of these players that does not respond to the email. So we do know that Icer and
sweet.
Ron Mexico have both responded to the email. So
okay. Played Dervis pretty late in the season. I can't remember if it was in Legacy or in Pro, but super nice guy. And so yeah, I'm gonna take the only nice guy left on the list. So I'll take Dervis.
all right. So we are taking Dervis on Fuel.
I just like to point out that also Fuel said that Ron is not a nice guy. So who's really Team Ruck Von Mexico?
All right. Well, we do have a Myanodon versus Dervis here as well. So Dervis, if he chooses, could have some revenge on Myanodon. That is a kind of a little side story there.
Not gonna happen.
I am also noticing that the records seem to be skewed towards Fuel. Fuel has basically the sort of no, actually they're a little bit even. Take that back. So Brushy, you're left with two players left, Ron Mexico and Icer.
You mean I'm
Uh,
left with one player?
yeah, so I was about to mention that. So my guess is Icer is going to be your pick.
Oh yeah.
So with the seventh pick in the draft, Icer is selected to Brushy Tuna in the Ruck Fond Mexico, which then leaves Fuel. That leaves you with Ron Mexico. How do you feel about that, Fuel?
I mean, you know, Ron's played with me for 2 years. All right, so here's the deal, right? Uh, uh, Ron joined with the formation of Prep is for Rogues, not Pilots. He knew Shunsui from Ladder, I want to say, um, and so Shunsui brought him on. He clicked right away with the whole team. Super nice guy, really strong player. Um, had 66% win rate or something across the 2 seasons. Like really good. Has a great profile picture and username. I don't know if you've seen his
Yeah,
profile picture of Michael Vitt in the sombrero, and then it's named after the ridiculous alias that Michael Vick used when he went to do illicit activities. And so I love Ron, great guy, amazing couple seasons, and then Brushy tells me that the sombrero's not real. The sombrero was edited into the picture, and Ron Mexico does not actually own a sombrero. And
Wow.
I was crushed. Felt so. I take Ron Mexico into my team under protest.
Oh wow. Exposed. That is that's a headline right there. Sombrero is not real, everybody. Brushy. Did you know this coming into this draft?
that his sombrero wasn't real. Yeah, we found out at the Legacy All Stars match last season. I exposed him to the whole team, and we all just stopped listening to him the rest of the match because obviously his advice was worthless. So
Wow. So Sand Sombrero, his Hearthstone knowledge means nothing.
correct.
Exactly.
Wow. How dare you?
It's true though. Rob posted his own advice was to play puzzle box every turn, and I'm not gonna lie. Even when we were playing mage, he was like, "Hey guys, what if we like somehow get a puzzle box and play it?" And that's all he said for the hour and a half long game.
I will point out though that Ron Mexico does have one of the best names in the THL. Gotta agree with that.
Nope.
Yep.
Oh, we got one yes, one no. So all right. So Brushy, how do you feel about your team? You got yourself, Kungmar, Solo Jazz, Myanodon, and Icer.
We're gonna win 3-1, easy.
Any strategies? Maybe not any
Ooh,
anything you want to give
I
away?
can't give out strategies.
Okay.
That'd be cheap. I can't give Fuel anything. All I want Fuel to know is that us as the Tunas, now my whole team are now Tunas, we've adapted and now our gills can breathe in all kinds of fuel. So now we are unstoppable. No BP oil spill and no fuel can stop us anymore.
Wow. Fuel, do you have anything you wanna share about your team? Donde, Skittles, Derivis, and Ron Mexico as well under protest, and
Yeah.
Fuel yourself.
Yeah. I think this team's really strong. I think we're gonna win 1-3. And yeah, we're gonna have a good time doing it.
Do you think having Ron Mexico on your team has any bearing on anything?
Uh, no comment.
We love you, Ron Mexico.
Yeah, no, for real. I'm excited. Ron's a great guy. It'll be fun to be in another All-Star game with him.
Yeah, Ron Mexico is really awesome.
Yeah. You wanna give up the thing, Fuel? Let everyone know
Yeah,
what
sure.
happened. So
I think they probably figured out we're trolling at this point, but
so when this All-Star game was and the draft was announced, I hit up Fuel and I said, "Hey, Fuel, do you want to mess with Ron as much as possible during the draft?" And of course, Fuel came back with, "Oh yeah, chance to mess with Ron, I'm in." So So we purposely made him last pick, and we're just like, we're just gonna troll him the whole time.
And it worked that you went first, so yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, the fact that the first pick should be Ron Mexico and just skip him.
All right. Well, before I go over the game here, any of you guys want to give any last thoughts? Rushy, do you want to give any last thoughts on the draft and your season?
I really like the way this draft works. I know we can't really do it in Legacy and Hero because of just how it works. But I think stuff like this is real fun to bring to the THL series. And it brings like this whole new element of like to the All-Star game to make it more fun on top of just like vote for these people and get them in, where now it's like these people are in. Now let's, do this fun little cool draft thing to get them on certain teams. Kind of like what the NBA started doing 2 seasons ago. I think it's a lot of fun. We should try to incorporate more stuff like this.
Fuel? Any thoughts there? Anything you want to share?
No, yeah, I'm liking this team, and this was fun, and hopefully the All-Star game will be even more fun.
All right, so I'm just going to throw this out there. It's looking like, so far, for everyone who's here, Monday, December December the 9th, I think it is coming up here. Looks like it'll be our match. So since we know the teams, I would maybe hopefully suggest that you guys start working on some getting some decks ready and all that other stuff. Um, because tomorrow is going to basically be your only day to really talk about it. Maybe through the day on Monday. The match will be this. The match will be best of 5. It'll be shielded, so we're going to be doing the sort of the how do they do it in the playoffs. So you will get to bring your 4 decks. You'll ban one, and it'll be a best of 5 conquest shielded. Um, any questions you guys have for the match or anything? Anything you guys want to share before we close it out here?
No, I mean, I guess it's the last day of the expansion, so like that's pretty cool way to send it off before the new cards hit.
Oh, I didn't realize that. That is cool.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you guys for joining me for this draft, and I hope you guys had fun. I hope everybody who's watching had a little bit of fun, and have a great, awesome day.
Yeah, Brush and I definitely had fun.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Awesome. And we can there we go.
Yep. All right, guys, I gotta run. That was fun though, and I'll be in contact later.